All right, hello everybody. I'm back and I'm in Shasta City beneath Mount Shasta. It is beautifully snowy out. I mean, look at this place. It's like a winter wonderland. I haven't seen, as I mentioned before, I haven't seen this much snow since I was 14 years old. So, God, it is amazing to be seeing all of this and to be in all of it, especially because I thought I was going to be arriving in Seattle too late to see any snow. So it is nice to be able to see this on the ride. Also, I am standing between two birch trees. I've seen these in Minecraft before. I don't really like them in Minecraft, but I love them in real life. And I've never seen one in real life before. And now I'm touching one. It's so, there's like this paper and it's just so smooth. It's got this like cool pattern. We got some woodpecker holes here from woodpeckers just tearing this tree apart looking for bugs. Oh, snow sticks to my shoes. But yeah, it is so awesome. I love it here. It is so cool. This is such a cool place to stop on our journey. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the more serious subject matter of this video. I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the Daily Wire, but for those of you guys that aren't, it is basically just an evil media corporation that has, for the last few years, been heavily motivated to hire a bunch of these like dead-eyed, plastic figure-looking conservative demagogues to basically flood the online media sphere with as much conservative propaganda and lies as possible, because they know quantity beats quality in this respect, and they just know what they're doing. The Daily Wire, I believe, is ran by Ben Shapiro, if I'm not wrong. Is that correct?
Not 100%. I think he's at least in the leadership.
Yeah, he's like really high up if he's not the CEO or owner, but he might not be CEO or owner, so I don't want to go as far as to say that. But Ben's like the face of the Daily Wire. It's his company as far as most people are concerned. And he's definitely the most impressive figure to work for them when you consider the other absolute pieces of shit that he's also employed at this company. Obviously, we've talked about Brett Cooper before, who's just this, like, attempt to appeal to the horny dudes online who want an e-girl to tell them conservatism is based. And then you've also got Matt Walsh, who's just really hates trans people and LGBT people and is probably a pedo. And then there's also, of course, finally, moving on to the topic of this video, Michael Knowles. I feel like he's got to be the least memorable, least exceptional person on the Daily Wire payroll. There's something about him that whenever I watch his videos, my eyes roll in the back of my head, and it's just like, why this guy? You know, like of all the Daily Wire figures, there's something that just kind of stands out about them, but this guy's so nothing. He's got this wax figure, soulless energy going on, but you know, enough ad hom. We'll move on to what he said and did. So Michael Knowles recently got under a little fire from, oh look at that dope ass snow melt. Got under a little fire from the LGBT community online, and rightfully so, because he basically has been calling for a genocide against trans people. It was really funny, his response to it that went viral I think just last night, yesterday maybe. His response to it was really funny. He starts it off by saying, "So lately I've been talking about how transgenderism has to be eliminated and we can't continue to agree with this delusion. And also they're pedos who want to go after your kids and yada yada." He starts off the video with him doubling down on his genocidal rhetoric and then goes on to say, "And now all of a sudden, trans people..."
Literally does the quotes. Literally does the quotes.
He does the air quotes in the air when he says trans people on the people part. Trans people are now saying that I want a trans genocide. And he goes on to follow it up. His defense, I really do think that every lefty should watch this, because this is the best conservative defense against the claim that they want to genocide trans people I've ever seen. Because it's pretty much yes and. He goes on to say, "Now they're claiming I want to genocide trans people, which is ridiculous. How can you genocide trans people when they're not even a group of people?" He basically tries to argue that because in his mind transgender people are not a real group of people, that it's just a bunch of delusional, I guess, people, with quotes, that you can't genocide them because they aren't a group that doesn't deserve to be genocided, is basically his argument. So his argument against the idea he wants to genocide trans people is that trans people aren't people in the first place, so you can't genocide them.
That's about it. Yep.
That's about their defense. And it's really funny having heard so many liberals defend the conservatives' propaganda against the trans community so much better, you know? Like, because you get, like, these libs that are like, no, it's not a genocide. They're not trying to genocide LGBT people. It's just they're trying to take your rights away and, like, deperson you and make it so that you're, like, not really able to be yourself in public or exist.
Oh, and that's bad. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
But it's not genocide. Let's not say the G word. And you know, they really play it down. But then Michael Knowles comes along and is just like, trans people? How can you genocide a group of people that we don't consider human?
Literally.
You're just outing your... Okay. Regardless, though, this
horrible.
Video, it's really horrible. It really, really is. But Michael Knowles does make me laugh because he's very unimpressive, and everything that he says is a direct contradiction to the last thing he said. He's probably the least impressive of the Daily Wire hosts, rhetorically speaking. So it was really funny to watch. Depressing, but also funny because... Like,
I don't know. How do you look at that and not just come to the conclusion that it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen? It looks like a dark comedy movie.
It does. It came off like a segment from The Boys satirizing conservative propaganda.
It literally does. It comes off as satire.
It came off as a skit from The Boys where they like cut to VOT TV and it's like, oh, now all of a sudden, like it literally came off like a skit. Like a joke.
Woke lefties don't want me to use my I-beams on anybody that I don't like.
But hear me out. Anybody that I would use my I-beams on isn't a person, so how could it be murder? You know,
yeah.
That is the level of argumentation here. Yeah, pretty vile and scary state of things online at the moment, but I'm very glad to see that Michael Knowles is getting a... basically massive amount of shit on Twitter right now, as all these Daily Wire hosts should be 24/7 every single tweet they make. There is no excuse not to be quote tweeting every Daily Wire host's like big tweets with like clips of them defending pedophilia or clips of them like calling for genocide or clips of them doing this or that or just them falling apart whenever the few times happen where they do a debate with someone who is like not just a random college student and get blown the fuck out, because that's always what happens. These people don't debate, they don't argue their ideas, because could you imagine if Michael Knowles actually got confronted on any of this? It'd be over. He would get wrecked.
It'd be like ripping the birch bark.
It would be. That's what would be left of him. That right there, you see those holes? That's all that'd be left of them. Yeah, these people don't engage with any actual critique or debate because at this point they've realized the most effective way to spread their propaganda is through flooding the media, like the online social media circuit, with as much propaganda as possible. They want you to find them before you find me, or Demon Mama, or Vosh, or any other left-wing figure. And as long as they keep on managing to flood the algorithm with this stuff, they'll succeed. But the scary thing as well is that these people have gone more and more mask off lately. I remember back in everything before 2020, when the argument from these people was like, oh, we don't hate trans people. We don't want to, like, you know, take away their ability to be trans or take away their rights or whatever. We're concerned about, like, you know, what about kids? We're concerned about, like, you know, just be a good person and we don't mind, right? That was essentially what they would argue. But nowadays, that's not at all what they argue. Now they're outright saying they need to eliminate transgenderism for America to be safe. There was also this bizarre segment where Michael Knowles starts talking about how women need to have safe spaces, which was kind of bizarre when you consider the last decade of conservative propaganda being all about making fun of the left, claiming that these marginalized groups are too delicate and fragile to exist on their own. You have to give them safe spaces and yada yada. Now the right are the ones arguing this. Yeah. It's very similar to like the blatant hypocrisy in like 5 years ago, right-wing figures were using the concept of women's sports as the butt of every joke. And now all of a sudden they care so much about the fairness and validity of women's like sports. Very interesting. I wonder what motivates them there.
They only ever care when they can use it as a bludgeon to hurt somebody else. That's it.
You see, I have been saying this for a very long time, and I think it's a great fucking quote. I'm proud of myself for coming up with it. To the right, cruelty and dishonesty is a virtue. If you are their enemy, then any sinful, horrible action in what you would assume to be their worldview is justified against you. They will lie, they will cheat, they will probably even kill. So remember that. These are not good people. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.